Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Superfeeler podcast. My name is Lori, and I'm very excited today to be joined by Violet, who reached out to me recently about her experience with borderline personality disorder. And it's a bit of a unique story that I think a lot of people here will be really interested in. So, Violet, welcome to the podcast. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and just kind of why you reached out?
So my name is Violet. I am a freshman in college. I'm studying musical theater, and I was diagnosed with BPD when I was around 15 by Carla Sharp, who,
Cool.
Yeah, she's done a lot of groundbreaking work with BPD, and specifically BPD in adolescence. There's stigma surrounding BPD itself. And then there also just seems to be a hesitation that people have to diagnose it in adolescence, which I think makes it worse, in my opinion.
Me too. I wish I had been diagnosed younger because it would have made a big difference in my life. What kind of led to your diagnosis? What did your symptoms look like at the time?
At that time, I was a freshman in high school, and
So was that 8th grade then? Sorry, I'm Canadian.
I graduated a year early
Okay.
from high school. So I was only in high school for 3 years, actually. But my freshman year of high school, which was 9th grade, it was kind of towards the end of the year, like around now, actually, like April. And I was like struggling with self-harm and everything. And I just had a fallout with my first ever group of friends that I had. And there was like a lot of substance use involved with that at the time. And then I stopped talking to my therapist because it just wasn't working out. And when I started self-harming again, she just kind of was at her wit's end. And she kind of basically just like not blew up at me over the phone, but like it was an intense conversation that was unprofessional, I think.
Yeah.
So I was struggling with all of that, and then my parents had tried to get me diagnosed before, like just see kind of what I have and what's going on with me, and they decided to try to do it again. My therapist had actually told my mom that she thought I had BPD.
Oh, okay.
She didn't have the capacity to like work with that, I guess. And so my mom started looking into like where to get me diagnosed, and she found Carla Sharp, and she emailed her or contacted her somehow, like thinking it was going to be somewhere in like London. And then
Right.
they were like, oh, it's at the University of Houston. And like, so that was like really good. So then
And where are you based?
I live in Houston, and I go
Oh,
to
okay. So like
school.
literally so close. It was just a
Yeah.
fluke. Oh
Yeah.
my God, crazy.
But I go to school in New Orleans right now.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah, so we went, and it was very, very thorough and like in depth. Like I went there 2 days, and like each day was kind of like 4 hours with a bunch of just super in-depth questions, which helped me be able to trust whatever they were going to diagnose me with more.
Right. Yeah.
Because in the past, other people I've seen, it's like 100 question thing, and then they try to diagnose you.
And you just don't feel like that's necessarily a valid diagnosis if you're not like doing the full like in-depth assessment.
Yeah, I mean, it also just depends on the person, I think, and whatever professional it is. I mean, that person wasn't great.
Yeah.
Yeah, but U of H was like very like in depth and everything. So yeah.
That's awesome. It's funny that you say that because I was actually somebody was at the Super Feelers Club, like the peer support group we have recently, and was asking about services in Houston. So
Mm.
that's so random. I'll have to send that to her. Before you were diagnosed with BPD, it sounds like you'd been kind of diagnosed with other things in the past. What kind of things had they tried to diagnose you with?
Yeah, in seventh grade was like my virtual school like COVID year.
Ah, yes.
And that was also COVID, and just kind of the past 6 years in general has been, there's just a lot of factors in why I think I have my diagnosis.
Mm,
Um, but in seventh grade, I just kind of had like the racing thoughts that would never stop. So then we they ended up diagnosing me with anxiety and adjustment disorder, which
okay.
I think was a misdiagnosis. And then apparently they diagnosed me with unspecified psychosis, which wasn't
Interesting.
actually, yeah, she said not to be scared by the psychosis part. It was just her way of saying she didn't entirely know what was going on with me, but not.
Interesting. Were you like seeing or hearing things that weren't there?
No, like I've never.
Strange.
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah.
Weird. So then when you got and you said substance use was a big challenge as well. In what when did that start?
Um, in kind of the fall of my freshman year, I made friends with someone, and then I ended up hanging out with their friend group. And at first, it was kind of like, oh, I just want to have friends and be able to talk to people. And then it ended up turning into like going there solely to smoke weed and everything.
Right.
And yeah. And thankfully for me, that lasted a month and a half. And I definitely kind of March of my freshman year, I think. It was spring break and we'd gone on a vacation, and I had like gotten high on that vacation. And then once I got back is when my brain started to kind of like the racing thoughts and everything. And I just felt awful and super dissociative.
Mm,
And then I also hadn't been taking my medication because I'd either run out or like, I don't really remember why. But then I eventually told my mom and my dad, and like like
you were
that's
able to kind of work through it.
yeah.
So that was after your diagnosis because you were diagnosed at 15 and freshman year is 18. Is that right?
This was before the diagnosis, and then like
Oh,
a
okay.
month later-ish is when.
Oh, okay. Sorry, my timeline is all confused. Okay, right. So this was kind of like what prompted the diagnosis was like you telling your parents that you were really struggling, and then they reached out to
Yeah. It was kind of
University of
that.
Houston.
It was all of that in March, and then April is when I was like struggling with the like self-harming, and
Hmm.
then sometime late April or May I went to get the diagnosis, and then it took a few weeks. It took a little more than a month for them to get back. And then like in like June is when I was diagnosed.
Okay. And so you were how old at that point?
15.
15.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, which is pretty early. Like I totally think that people should be diagnosed early if they know for sure. Like I know for me, I should have been diagnosed earlier. And when I was telling you over Instagram message that I recently like was going through my charts again when I was a kid, so like 12 and 13, and they had this like deferral for a personality disorder diagnosis. So I like Googled it, and it looked like basically they use this deferral if they think there's a personality disorder, but they don't want to identify it that early. And I was like, okay, well, so you obviously knew that there was something going on. Um, and Did you know what borderline personality disorder was when you got diagnosed? Had you heard of it before?
I think I definitely had heard of it. I don't really remember where.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I got diagnosed, like I started doing like the research and everything, and it made a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you did the research, what kind of stuff did you find?
Like black and white thinking, fear of abandonment, like all the symptoms. And in the report that they sent back, apparently I'd met like all of the criteria
Mm,
also. Um, and it's just like I can't imagine if I hadn't. It's like honestly such like I'm really grateful that I was diagnosed that early because I can't
yeah.
even imagine just going years and years without knowing that you have this super heavy thing. I
Yep.
my my theater director actually last year told me that she had it, that she was
Mm.
diagnosed like a few years ago. And I was just like, I cannot even imagine just feeling that basically lost for that long.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know people that come to our peer support group that are diagnosed in like their 60s.
Hmm.
And like how heartbreaking. I mean, at least they finally got an answer, but how heartbreaking is it to know that like they probably were struggling for like 50 years without
Yeah.
having an answer? And like, I don't know about you, but before I was diagnosed, because I was like 18 or 19 when I got diagnosed, I remember just feeling like I was a horrible human being and I was so alone. And like I didn't have this understanding of why I was the way that I was until I got that diagnosis. And it made a huge difference.
Yeah.
Did you find any stigmatizing stuff online when you started looking into it? Anything that made you fearful or like feel judged?
When we got the diagnosis, like it was a report that they sent back. We also ended up like having a meeting with her,
Mm,
and it's like she reiterated like you're not untreatable. There's nothing wrong with you. This is a very treatable condition, and like eventually you can actually hit remission and like maybe not have the diagnosis anymore or meet the criteria. But then, yeah, I started reading online just some of the things that people would say, like, you're untreatable or like manipulative or whatever. And
hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm glad that Carla was able to tell you in advance, like kind of dispel some of those myths for you so that at least when you went to read them, you're like, okay, but no, but an expert said that I am treatable. So clearly, you know, the internet is lying, which it does often. What happened after your diagnosis? Like, did you get into treatment? Did you go on different medication?
after getting diagnosed, I wasn't with my previous therapist anymore. And I went a while without talking to anyone
Mm-hmm.
and like seeing a therapist. And it's like, it's difficult to do the search for someone. And then it was also just kind of my parents have this thing where like if we need a doctor's appointment or whatever, like you just have to constantly keep reminding them or they will not schedule it. And like
Your parents wouldn't schedule it, or the doctors wouldn't schedule it?
my parents,
Oh, okay.
yeah. And so but then eventually I ended up seeing someone at like the DBT center in Houston,
Mm,
and that didn't end up working out because of just scheduling and like,
right.
school. But then, kind of in that summer, I guess like July and August, I'd started spending a lot more time at my dad's house. It's kind of like I wasn't in therapy. And it's like I was trying to decide what was best for me or what I needed, and somehow I decided that that was staying with my dad all the time, even though he is a huge part of, like, he's not the entire reason, it's not all his fault or whatever, but he has contributed a
Hmm.
lot to why I have BPD. So I was staying with him all the time, and I was just kind of suppressing a lot. Like, anytime there was something that wasn't happy or fun, I would just suppress it.
Mm.
And I remember he found me a therapist, he found me a DBT, like someone who specializes in DBT. And I kind of remember thinking, oh, I don't need this. Like, I don't know. It's like I was suppressing so much. It's like the way my brain worked was so incredibly structured
Right.
and not free flowing and not seeing what's actually going on. Um, so yeah, I think kind of that, and then me deciding to like stop taking my medicine just by myself. I just stopped
Mm.
it because like finding a new psychiatrist is something my parents never really did
Right.
after
And
I
you were
stopped.
so young, right? Like you
Yeah.
can't like it would be very hard for you as like a 16-year-old to be able to do all those things by yourself.
Yeah. And so I stopped taking it. The psychiatrists I'd been seeing before like raised their rates without telling my parents, and then they just weren't really proactive, I guess, in finding someone after that. So I'd been taking this medicine for months, but hadn't seen this person in forever. And then I decided to stop taking it cold
Mm.
turkey. And
What
that
meds were you
made
on, if you don't mind me asking?
it was Abilify, which
Okay.
I didn't like. And
Hmm.
they put me on hardcore like antipsychotics in the seventh grade, and it's just my idea of medication, like, I don't know, I'm hesitant. So I stopped taking that, and kind of what happened in seventh grade started happening again because I'd also been staying with my dad all the time, suppressing all these things. And so the racing thoughts and all the like having to figure it all out right now came back. So I ended up having to go, like, I was in a outpatient program for a little bit, and then I got out of that and like kept seeing that therapist after. And she's really, really, really good. I'm not seeing her anymore now because she's not licensed in Louisiana.
Mm, right,
But
because yeah, you moved. Yeah.
yeah, but she's really, really good.
That's good to know. So she's in Houston.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if after this episode, if you could give me her name, because that super feeler who was looking for counseling in that area was like, I was asking if I knew of anybody who would be good working with people with BPD, and I was like, I'm so far from there. I like did my best, but that would be super helpful to have the name. So now you don't do any meds at all?
I do. When I was in the outpatient program, which was not good, they don't really help. It, it,
What kind of stuff were they doing with you guys?
it was an outpatient program, and it was like there was no room for you to talk about what you were actually going through. It was almost like you were just going to a class
Mm,
all the
okay.
time.
And was
And
it DBT based or was it
I
just
mean,
general?
no, and they also lied to me. Like, when they were admitting me, they were like, "We have a DBT skills group." It's like
Mm,
they kind of paint it as group therapy, but it's not group therapy,
right. It's like
you
a
know?
class.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
there was no room for anyone to talk about what was actually happening to them. It was just
Mm,
you were, like, reading whatever they were giving you and talking about whatever skills they were, but it
right.
just didn't really help. And She said that they had a DBT skills group. That never happened. And like, yeah, they said that you would do group therapy with the people that were admitted at the same time as you. That is a complete lie.
Mm.
That's not what happened. Yeah, and they put me on that medication without telling me what it was either.
That was the Abilify?
They put me on Zyprexa. I'd been off.
Zyprexa. I've not even heard of that.
Yeah.
Like, let me Google that. What is that?
It's an antipsychotic, and again, like it's pretty hardcore. And like there's side effects that aren't the best either.
Okay.
Um, yeah.
Interesting. I haven't even heard of it. I wonder if it's even legal in Canada because I've literally never heard of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It says it
And
is available in Canada, but that's interesting.
mhm.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? Is like, so don't get me wrong. I love meds. I take Seroquel, and I take Effexor, and they're my favorite combination. Obviously, Seroquel is an antipsychotic, but you need to know what you're getting into, right? Like part of it is just about being told the right information, and that's super important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like she was saying, "Oh, I'll give you something that'll help with this, this, and that." And like I had that conversation. She didn't tell me what the medication was.
Mm.
She didn't tell me what it was. And then I get home and I was like, had spent a few hours at home doing whatever. And then I remember my mom was there too, but my dad walked in. He walked in through the door and he was like, "Oh, here's your medication. Like, here's
Mm.
these pills that you're going to start taking every day." I didn't know what it was. I was very, very uncomfortable and didn't want, like, I didn't
Yeah.
know what the hell I was taking. And all of a sudden, I have to start taking this. And my mom told me she'd done some research on it and that she thought it would have been a good idea. And by the way, my parents, they're divorced.
Hmm.
So she doesn't live at my dad's house, but she was there for whatever reason that I can't
Okay.
remember right now. But we talked about it for a long time, and it was a very intense conversation where my dad was being dismissive and like just all the things that are bad. And like I remember he said he was like the only side effects that she talked about that she told me were weight gain. And he looks at me and he's like, "Which you could use." And I was like, "Oh
Mm.
my God." And my
Yeah.
mom was right there too. And it was crazy. Like it was bad.
Yeah.
Um,
Not the best way to have that conversation about meds for sure.
yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that. That's frustrating for sure. And like, because meds can be really helpful, right? But we just really need to have the appropriate information and find the ones that work for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you've talked a lot about your parents so far in the episode. What was growing up like before your diagnosis, from birth to 13 or whatever, 15?
I've talked about this with my mom. Um, Up until 5th grade, growing up felt normal. Like it definitely felt just like a normal childhood, like both parents were together and everything. And my mom has told me she always thought that the family was dysfunctional. I think maybe I just couldn't see things.
Yeah,
And because
totally.
I was a kid and maybe there were things going on between just them that I didn't see, but I don't really
Mm.
know. And then 6th grade, I started middle school and I just started having a lot of like emotional dysregulation issues, feeling like I couldn't go to class, which is like one
Mm.
kind of hint that I think I had BPD.
And anxiety too, right? Like
Yeah,
maybe that's not why you weren't going to class. Yeah.
yeah. at that point, things were getting difficult. And then February of sixth grade, which was 2020, and things about COVID were starting to be talked about, is when my grandma passed away, my dad's mom. And I, it's, I remember in the hospital room, my dad was telling someone about the matching tattoos that him and my mom had just gotten. Um,
But they were divorced already or no?
no, not yet.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
This thought popped into my head like, oh, that's not gonna last much longer. Like, their
Mm,
marriage isn't gonna last much longer or whatever. Like, I kind of have always had just kind of premonitions like that,
yeah,
where it's just like a small thought that pops into my head. And then COVID started, and my great aunt also was struggling with like leukemia and everything. And eventually they put her in hospice. And this is also all in the middle of quarantine.
yeah. Like
So,
early COVID.
yeah. And then me and my siblings kind of started to see things. We knew that my parents weren't okay and that something was going on with them. And it was, again, like this period of time, I can't really remember a lot. But one day, like our parents said they needed to talk to us, and they came and they walked us out to like the baseball fields that were in front of our house, and we sat on some bleachers, and they ended up my mom said like, "Oh, I'm going to start staying at Grammy's house," which is her mom. And my brother, who was like 9 at the time, was like, "Oh, are y'all getting divorced?" And she was like, "Probably." And then that's when, like, it was not great.
Yeah.
And also, like, my brother was 9, I was 12, my sister was 15. And I remember after we talked about all of that, my parents walked back to the house with my brother, and me and my sister stayed to like just talk. And she was like, "I can't believe that I'm 15 and my parents are getting divorced." Like, I'm 15 years old. Because 9, 12, and 15 doesn't really seem like that much of a common age to be going through divorce with your
Yeah, I don't know.
parents.
My parents were, I think I was 10 and my sister was 8. So for me it was normal, but I don't but I don't know. I guess I don't know a lot of other people that their parents got divorced when I was the same age as them
Yeah, like it's often you hear like, "Oh, they got divorced when I was born, when I
or
was
4 or whatever.
2."
Yeah.
Yeah. It's never like both people, it's never teenager, preteen, and like 9 years old, you know?
Hmm.
You don't hear about that too often. Yeah, and then that was that day. The next day, though, my mom came back, or I think I remember our parents talking to us in the living room and saying, "Oh, no, we're gonna stay together. We're gonna try to work it out."
Okay.
And I don't know, but my mom came back. She came back to the house and was there for the next 4 weeks. And that 4 weeks, I cannot remember much,
Mm,
honestly, because it was so miserable. And I think that is the moment where our family really, really started to become dysfunctional
okay.
with all of us, because that's kind of what taught me, at least, oh, keep your emotions in, act like nothing's
Right.
going on. Because all of a sudden, my mom comes back and they're both acting like nothing's going on, but then at the same time, they're talking to each other like they haven't been married for the past 20
Right.
something years. And
So it kind of like screwed up your ability to see healthy relationships in the same way, and then also to express your emotions because you're kind of being modeled to just like hide them. Is that right?
yeah, I think so. It was just like act like absolutely nothing's going on when we know that there is a huge damn elephant in the room.
Yeah, totally.
And then eventually my mom did go back to my grandma's house, and like that's when they like really separated. And it took them a little bit to like legally get divorced because it was COVID and the judge like wouldn't sign the divorce
Mm.
papers for a lot. Like, I don't really know. But after that, there's probably like, I'd say a 1 to 3 month period that I can't really remember too much.
You were just too stressed probably to remember it all.
Yeah, I remember more than when my mom came back and they were acting like nothing was happening. But yeah, and then that was really when we were in the middle of COVID and everyone's trying to adjust to the divorce, and my parents just are not good at co-parenting. They're just
Right.
not good at it.
Were they both involved in trying to help you get care? You know, I know you mentioned your mom definitely was, but trying to get you to the psychiatrist and appointments and stuff like that?
In a sense, they were, but they were not good at communicating with each
Mm.
other. And then I remember I got diagnosed with BPD, and for months, my dad didn't even read the report.
Mm.
He didn't want to believe that I had this because
Yeah.
his whole thing is, oh, it's not the diagnosis, it's just how you deal with it. Or, oh, people feel bad to have a label and feel like, but I'm like, having a diagnosis was very, very freeing for me and
Yeah.
like helped a lot. So yeah.
And that's the thing about diagnoses, right? Is like they're only as beneficial as they are to the individual that's receiving it and to help direct care, right?
Mm.
So if you totally fundamentally don't believe in the label, then that's okay. You don't have to. But like it sounds like for you and for me, it was super, super helpful to be able to get.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. So just a heads up, if the audio sounds a bit different, that's because we're recording this little section another time. Violet thought about it and wanted to add a little additional piece in here. So if you feel like a weird cut in the conversation, that's why. So, Violet, you really wanted to talk about the impact of having difficulty socializing is on your life. Do you want to kind of explain what made you want to come back and record this bit?
Yeah, I mean, I just felt like it was a huge part of just my life and the diagnosis that like I didn't feel great about leaving out.
Mm,
Yeah.
fair. So what about it
Mhm.
is why is that so impactful to your life?
I think just kind of socialization has been difficult for me since kind of elementary school. But then, I mean, I've always been really, really shy. And in elementary school, like if I had friends, it would be like one or two. Middle school, like having friends was really hard. Kind of after the divorce is kind of, I guess, I mean, COVID, I had friends left over from like middle school and some of elementary school that I would talk to. But then, kind of, I would say 8th grade after COVID year, like virtual school, when I came
Right,
back.
like COVID year one, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I came back in person, um, is when like it really, really started to be bad. I mean, I would say like felt like I really didn't have friends, and I did in a sense, but it felt like there was no one that I could really connect to, and kind of my interpretations of what a friend is supposed to be were have just been it's changed over the years. Like, I wanted someone that I could really relate to and people that I could really talk to. Um, yeah, and then
And
ninth
do you find
grade.
that, sorry, just to clarify that, like, you were kind of saying that your definition of what a friend was maybe not what was feasible. Is that because you haven't found anybody that you can really connect with just because of how different your brain works, or what does that mean?
I don't know, I'm honestly not sure, like, why oversharing is something that I've really had to work on. So it's like, in a sense, that's what I thought it was, like, almost
Mm,
like you would just overshare a lot and know everything about each other, like, really deeply personally like that, almost like trauma bonding. So
right.
that's what I thought a friend was, I guess 8th grade, ninth grade-ish, um, and some of 10th grade, which 10th grade was weird because I was, like, out of school for a little bit. Um,
Why was that?
it was, when I was, like, in the outpatient
Oh, I
program.
see. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. Right. Okay. I'm just trying to get my timeline right. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah. Um, then kind of I started to realize I think really ninth grade is when it's like I thought that having friends was, like, such this huge feat that you
Mm,
had to, like, it was just such a huge thing to have a friend. That's what I thought. Like, it took so much work. It it was just so hard in my mind. And once you had one, it would be this huge, amazing thing when, like, in reality, you could be talking about any like, you don't have to be talking about things that are deeply, deeply personal.
hmm.
You could talk about, I mean, anything else in the world. Like, it can just be about favorite movies or like, do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
it does. You don't have to be in this like trauma bonding space. And
mhm.
every friendship looks different, right? But it's hard to know that if you're feeling really isolated from people in general. And COVID obviously made that worse, especially when you were going into 8th, ninth, and 10th grade.
Yeah, yeah.
And does that make you feel lonely, or is it anxiety that's driving this? What do you think kind of drives this isolation?
In COVID for one thing, and then just the social anxiety that I've had since then and probably before too.
Hmm.
Um, I think I was just so incredibly isolated and didn't really have a friend group for so long or like any real close friends that like social cues and just how people have conversations, it's like I didn't really know how that worked in a way.
Mm.
And it's like I would try to make conversation, I would try to make small talk, like, it felt like I was constantly just reaching and reaching and reaching, and it wasn't really doing anything. It's just, like, for a while, I didn't really know what friends and socialization and all of that was supposed to look like. And I
Mm.
just felt out of place, and like there was so much information and underlying social norms, I guess. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but just things like that that I didn't know that made it really difficult to like
Mm.
talk to people.
And did you feel that way before COVID happened?
Maybe a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
Obviously, COVID made it worse. Like, that's not a question. I feel like
Mhm.
COVID made that worse for everyone.
Yeah.
So, have you worked on that, like this issue in therapy at all?
The first DBT therapist I had, she was amazing. And kind of with the socialization part, I think she was not getting it.
Mm,
Like, there were things just with socialization in general, like developmentally, that I didn't get to be around because of
right.
COVID and all those things. And also, I've already been really shy since I was little. Um, she just thought she would be like, oh, just send someone a funny video. Like,
Mm,
that's it. Just send someone a funny video and start talking about it. It's like she wasn't getting the developmental things that I never learned, I guess, or never got to really know like I feel like other people did.
hmm.
Um,
Yeah, and sometimes it's hard for people to understand, even counselors, right? Like understand each individual's experience. Like that's why I like peer support so much, right? Is because, you know, you can go to a peer support group and hear other people that have experienced the same issue, whereas
Mhm.
like a counselor may not necessarily have that. Obviously, counseling is really important, but I can totally understand where they might not totally get where you're coming from with this issue.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. And then I think I can't really remember. I mean, 11th, my junior slash senior year, which was I just finished my freshman year of college. So the year before that was my junior slash senior year. Um, and I'd been on Zyprexa for a while before that. And I honestly think the suppression I was feeling because of it was really uncomfortable and awful. And also, in a way, it also kind of helped the socialization. I mean, I wouldn't choose that. I don't wanna feel that numb again, but it also put my brain in a place where I could socialize and talk to people. Like, it was yeah, and I was in a play, the fall of that year, and my scene partner, we spent pretty much every scene together. So in rehearsals, there was like a lot of um like downtime or
Hmm.
just time where we could talk and we really, really got to know each other and we became friends and we're still friends to this day. And like I would say that I've always said like she's my first friendship that I really felt like I could maintain.
Right.
Yeah.
And what felt different about that friendship than others that you could maintain it?
Honestly, it might just be the weird cocktail of what my life was at the time with the suppression and everything.
Hmm.
I mean, I also s- kind of learned not to overshare as much. Like there are times where you can talk about things in your life. And again, like I'm already a person who like wears their heart on their sleeve anyway. But it's like you don't have to talk about deep and personal stuff all the time. If anything, that's not the healthiest.
Right.
and we could just talk about other things like um anything like theater and our opinions about acting or different actors, TV shows, like whatever, just kind of light stuff like that.
Yeah, you had an opportunity, like you had something to talk about, which I feel like is
Mhm.
how a lot of friendships start, and then sometimes friendships end if that thing leaves. Like, I know, like, there's so many times where people make friends at work, for example, and then when you
Mhm.
quit, you lose those friends. Not all of them, but like it happens a lot. So I feel like it's really awesome that you were able to sustain that
Yeah.
past the play being over.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another reason I think relationships have just been hard for me to maintain is because of just the everything's constantly changing when you have BPD,
Mm-hmm.
and there are times where you're relatively okay and can make the effort to talk to people, and then something else happens and you don't talk to everyone for weeks at a time. I also think that the friend that I made during that show, I remember one time she was like, I don't remember what the context of the conversation was, but she was like, "Oh, I just try to give you your space when you're in some sort of something like that, whatever it
Right.
is." Um, so it's like she's super empathetic and compassionate when it comes to my issues, and like it's not even like we talk every day. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it just we'll go a long time without talking to each other, and then we'll like come back and still be best friends. Like it's just what's helped is not having the pressure to constantly have to be talking to someone when I'm dealing with things that might make that really hard.
Yeah, totally. That makes a huge difference. That I think some of the best friendships out there are ones where you don't have to talk to them all the time, but when you do talk to them, then you're back to like where you left off,
Yeah,
basically.
and it's really, really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so glad you have a friendship like that, and I'm sure that there's more coming, right? It sounds like you're really aware of this kind of challenge in your life, and
Mhm.
awareness helps so much with overcoming things.
Yeah.
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 Well, is there anything else on this topic that you wanted to bring up?
I think a big piece of the socialization that's also been hard is the fear of abandonment
Mm-hmm.
piece also, and that's something I've had to work on is, like, I would think that anyone I talked to was mad at me or whatever story my brain was trying to convince me of. Something I've kind of learned and had to work on is like if someone is upset with you, it is their responsibility to tell you that they're upset with you.
Yeah, you
And
can't
then,
read minds.
yeah, and then my brain will go, oh, well, what if you do something? Like, you also have to trust yourself to know that you may have done something that upset them. So then you just go to them and be like, hey, did this upset you? And they'll
Mm-hmm.
either say yes or no. Yeah. And also, just kind of instead of walking into a room assuming that everyone doesn't like me, walking into a room assuming that everyone likes me and they're okay with me, and if something else is going on, then they will tell me, and it's not the end of the world if something terrible happens. Usually, it's something that you can work out and it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great way to approach that. That's
Like,
awesome.
there have been times where I'm, like, absolutely sure that someone is, like, upset with me about
Me
something,
too.
and then they're like, "No, what the hell?"
Yeah, they're like, "What are you talking about?" And you're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, this is embarrassing."
Mhm.
But yeah, I feel like going in with the approach of, okay, everything's fine unless told otherwise is a
Mhm.
really good way of approaching that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Violet, thanks so much for coming back on and adding this little piece. I think it is really important. I know there's lots of listeners who experience this social isolation and kind of challenge with making friends and keeping them. So
Hmm.
I really appreciate you coming
Yeah.
back on.
Yeah. And it's hard and it's gotten better, but it's always a work in progress still.
Hmm. Of
Um,
course.
but
I think
it's
all of
gotten,
this is a work in progress, right?
yeah, I've gotten so much better than I was like freshman and sophomore year.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's so good to hear. Awesome.
Hmm.
So, what does life look like now for you? You're 4 years past your diagnosis ish, 3 years past your diagnosis. You've moved states.
I mean, kind of the rest of COVID and middle school and high school up until kind of junior slash senior year, like last year, my dad just always, there were a lot of family dynamics and a lot of family things and incidents that happened. That's a lot to explain, but one consistent thing throughout is just after my parents separated, one, my dad wasn't doing well because, yeah, and he just like, I've learned now just the chronic invalidation that I experienced from him has like contributed to a lot of what I struggle with. And like, I honestly, for the longest time, I'm like, he's my dad. I want to trust what he's saying. And a lot of damage was done because I was listening to it, which, like, again, I don't blame myself. He's my dad. A kid would want to listen and trust their father, but it was just like invalidation, guilt tripping, just dismissive, gaslighting, literally all of those things.
Right.
And like now, like, I think he's pretty like narcissistic. Like, I've researched all of that too. And I've kind of shifted between calling it emotional abuse and not calling it emotional
Hmm.
abuse, but I am pretty fine now with
Yeah.
saying that it is. Um, but like kind of last school year is when I started to like disconnect from my dad in the sense, I mean, I disconnected from him for a while, like for a long time since our relationship is just not good. But it's
Hmm.
like I disconnected from that, like really being able to trust my dad and actually taking what he says seriously.
Right.
And now I'm really, really learning to see through that. And I've been in DBT therapy for a little bit, which has helped a lot. And
Nice.
now that I'm away at school, I am really starting to realize kind of how messed up the things he's said in the past are. I don't know. Yeah.
Sometimes that distance is helpful for some like self-realization, for sure. Where are you doing DBT?
It's with someone in like a private practice. Like,
Okay.
she's licensed in Louisiana and Texas, so I can see
Nice.
her. Yeah.
And that's been going well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is there anything in particular that you've learned from DBT that has been the most helpful for you so far?
I mean, there's not just one thing. Like,
Yeah.
I'd say the skills that I have used like most often in the past 3 years, I guess, is like the distress tolerance, like emotion regulation, the
Hmm.
stop skill. Like, I've
Yeah.
been really proud of myself recently because there's been moments where I could have like slammed something on the counter and I like didn't. Like, I
Hmm.
know now how to regulate, and I haven't had a rage episode in 3 years, probably.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Good
Hmm.
for you. That's huge.
Yeah.
So is there anything that we haven't talked about already that you really wanted to talk about today?
I mean, there is just so much more that happened during COVID that I didn't
Mm-hmm.
explain. Like, I didn't want to go to my dad's house when we had to switch, and I would like refuse to go over there. And that was a big thing. And he was like, was guilting me a lot about it and making it about his feelings and everything.
Mm,
And things with my siblings were difficult. My brother was just honestly really mean to me for the longest time until one day we kind of talked, and like things are a lot better now. It's just like things in the family are very, very messy,
yeah.
more than maybe I think I realize sometimes. And I also 100% believe that I'm the scapegoat in my
Yeah.
family.
Me too.
Yeah, because like I get blamed for a lot of things
Yeah.
because people don't want to take accountability. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
you can't try to get people to understand something that they're not ready to hear, they're not gonna admit.
Yeah.
Like at this point this summer, it's just about doing what's best for me. No. Yeah.
Because you'll be back home in Houston in the
Mhm.
summer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think you've got a good approach, right? Like come into it with I need to take care of myself first. And if you do that, it makes it easier to say no to people and to
Yeah.
turn off that like need that we have been designed to do to like take on the fact that we're the black sheep, you know?
Yeah. And definitely this past summer, my sister and me were like at odds because I think she's in denial about who my dad really is, and she
Mm,
kind of treats him like a saint. Like, she's always had a better relationship with him, but there were conversations where I was like, are you literally blind? Like, you don't
yeah.
see how messed up this is, what he's doing? And yeah, it's so messy. And I think now I'm in the past couple weeks, I've honestly started to feel the change in my brain, like feeling better because I'm away from all of that.
Yeah. Distance is helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. So, to kind of wrap us up here, I'm curious what your favorite part of having borderline personality disorder is.
Just kind of feeling my emotions as intense and as distressing as they can be, like, still is such an important thing to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it helps with, like, I'm just highly compassionate and like empathetic. I've always been that way. And just kind of being super, super intuitive as well. Like, there is a lot of good that can come. We need more people like this in our world, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed. Great answer. Thanks so much, Violet. Thanks for coming on and sharing your story with us. It's been such a pleasure to get to know you. And I think your story has so many important, relatable aspects to it. I mean, the whole like realizing that, you were diagnosed early, but like the impact of that diagnosis being so positive on your self-understanding. So many of the family dynamic issues I know are very relevant to me and I'm sure are relevant to others. And just learning that DBT can help is
Yeah.
really, really beautiful, especially at your age. Awesome. Well, thanks so much for coming on. And you're doing such a good job. I can't wait to see the person you become in the next like 5-10 years. That'll be great.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for listening to the Superfeeler podcast. This episode was recorded on the unceded traditional territory of the Matsqui and Sumas First Nations. If you'd like to support the show, you can find bonus content on Patreon or donate directly on PayPal. If you're looking for peer support and joining the best BPD community out there, you can sign up for the Superfeelers Club or Skills Lab sessions for free at www.superfeeler.ca/peer support. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, leave a rating or review, and share it with someone who might find it helpful. It really does make a difference and helps more people find the show. Truly, that 5-star rating means way more than you think it does. Don't forget to follow me over on social media for announcements, show clips, and more. You can find links to everything over at my new site, www.superfeeler.ca. So much easier to remember than my hard-to-spell last name. Until next time, take good care of yourself and keep on superfeeling. Lots of love, and thanks for listening.